The real takeaway from this comic is that if you have anxiety, you're probably a clone, and you're probably going to turn into a homicidal maniac. Howdy, I'm Kurt Williams, and today we're talking about issue 1 of Skin Police by Jordan Thomas and Daniel Gete. I know this issue came out last week. I'm a little bit behind, but I've had to put a lot of time and effort into getting ready for every comic shop in Georgia, a trip that I'm going on starting next Wednesday where I visit every single comic shop in the state of Georgia, at least every shop that sells new issues. Thanks so much to everybody who showed up to the live stream on Sunday where I talked about the details of the trip and also went over a comic project that I'm working on, and we tried to make a comic together and maybe a bit off more than I could chew, but that's a story for another video. Anyway, there were a few really good #1 issues that came out last week, and this is the one that I wanted to talk about the most. Because even though I'm familiar with Jason Wordie, who they have on colors here, and Jeff Powell, who they have on lettering and design, I have never heard of Jordan Thomas or Daniel Gete before, but they really blew me away with this issue. Normally I'll just try to summarize what the issue is about, but they have this great blurb at the beginning that I'll just read to you. 2142. A fertility pandemic grips the globe. Amidst this chaos, a black market for illegal clone babies thrives. War, government turmoil, coups, and mass immigration means these so-called duplicates are untraceable, often not aware themselves that they are living, breathing crimes against nature. What's worse is that their genetics are unstable. 3 in 4 of them will pop, immediately becoming vicious, homicidal monsters. Countries and continents have taken their own individual approaches to this crisis. The United Nations of Europe have upheld an unforgiving stance, creating a special government division to hunt down and remove these deadly ticking time bombs. They named this task force the Duplicate Identification and Capture Division, but to everyone else they are the Skin Police. So it's a pretty cool concept. You've got the dystopian vibes, but you've also got a very similar feeling to Alan Moore's cop story Top 10. You're following a couple of the Skin Police, Agent Ekis, who's their best agent, and his new partner, as they're tracking down these duplicates and also unraveling this mystery of what the real nature of the duplicates is. Something that I love about the writing in this series is its kind of quiet confidence. The premise is fresh and the dialogue is strong, but it uses a lot of cliches from the crime genre. Like, for example, we have one really great agent who just recently lost his old partner, and we don't know the circumstances of that event, but he feels bad about it. And we have this tortured veteran cop taking on a brand new partner, this junior agent, which he doesn't want, but he's forced to deal with. And this overall sense of fear that everybody has surrounding this almost police state that they live in is also pretty typical of the crime genre. But even though it has all of these cliches in it, it takes itself just seriously enough that it's well done. It's not so serious that you think this guy just really loves crime movies and wanted to make his own and had no real sense of vision. It's got some good jokes in there, it has its own flavor, but it's also not so full of jokes that you just think he's making fun of a genre or parodying a genre. It's the kind of writing that's not trying to be flashy and grab attention and be something totally different that people will talk about. It's just trying to be good, and I really appreciate that. And the art is on a very similar wavelength. It's taking itself seriously, but it's still having fun. I really appreciate these artists who have just strong, clean lines. This is an artist who clearly cares about clarity in their work. There's a ton of detail, which I really like to see, but there's also a very clear composition in the work. It's very easy to tell what's going on in each panel and what the depth of each panel is. And even with that clarity, there's still a lot of room for details in the backgrounds. The settings feel very lived in, very well fleshed out. I mean, look at the fish tank that he put in the background here. Even though those fish would definitely not be comfortable living in a tank that small, it's nice to see him paying that much attention to detail. It helps, of course, that we have someone as great as Jason Wordie doing colors on it, because he does a great job of making each panel have a lot of depth. Like, we can see all the way into this bathroom, which is on the other side of the room, and a hallway, and into a separate room. We can see the tiles in that bathroom, but it doesn't feel like it's right in your face. The colors really help push it way into the background. Another way that the art shows this quiet confidence that the whole issue has is he doesn't have these super dynamic poses that he's drawing people in, but it still feels like action. You know, he's not using such stylized superhero poses like you might see in Incredible Hulk or Spider-Man, for example, but you still get a strong sense of movement and a strong sense of presence from the characters, especially in this final panel here. I think in general this is an art style that the industry is starting to move away from, or has been moving away from for the last like 10 years. This art style would have really popped out in, I don't know, 2004, 2005. But if you're into the artists from that era, which I am, or if you like Ghost Machine, which has a lot of artists who have a very similar style, then I think you'll like this. Or even if you just feel like there are a lot of comic artists out there right now who aren't trying very hard, this is definitely quality work with a good deal of effort being put into it. So I'm going to give issue 1 of Skin Police a high 8 out of 10, just about a 9. It doesn't quite blow me away. It's not the most fresh comic I've read ever, but it is surprisingly solid considering it's people I've never heard of, and it's published by Oni Press, which does not exactly churn out heavy hitters. There's only going to be 4 issues, so it's not a huge investment, but it is a great bang for your buck. So let your local comic shop owner know that you want to grab issue 1 of this and get on the pull list for issue 2, 3, and 4. It's going to be worth it. And if you read it, what do you think?